Well, a very good morning this morning, and the warmest welcome from the ministry of Musselburgh Congregational Church. And in these very troubled times in the world, our music this morning is the music from Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. When God doesn't deliver us out of our trials as we long for Him to do, it may be that He's using our trials to bring about a greater good. And we see this so clearly in the life of Joseph. In his youth, Joseph was a very annoying little brother. He was his father's favourite and he knew it, often running to his father with tales about his big brothers. He annoyed them even further when he told them about a dream he'd had in which they seemed to be bowing down to him. Who did he think he was? They get a hold of him, they throw him into a pit until they decide what to do with him. And then one day, when they see a caravan of traders on their way to Egypt, they sell him to them. But it gets worse. They took his coat of many colours, they dipped it in the blood of a dead animal, and they went home and lied to their father that Joseph had been killed and devoured. Perhaps the worst sin of all was that they broke their father's heart. Joseph is sold and he becomes quite an important man in Pharaoh's palace. So far, so good. However, he soon finds himself in real trouble. His boss's wife makes advances towards him, which Joseph rejects, and she tells her husband that it is Joseph who has made inappropriate advances towards her. He's thrown in jail. He languishes there for years. But it soon becomes clear that God is using all this mess for His own purposes. Pharaoh suffered from disturbing dreams. And it was known that Joseph, who was in jail, had a reputation of interpreting dreams, so he was sent for. And he comes to the palace and he explains to Pharaoh the meaning of his dreams. Over the next 7 years, Egypt is going to enjoy super harvests. However, in the 7 years that follow, there will be dangerous famine in the land. So Pharaoh appoints Joseph to be the Minister of Agriculture for the whole of Egypt. Over the next 7 years, Joseph stores grain in abundance and it sees them through the very lean years. However, the people living in the lands around them are not so fortunate, and they include his brothers, who travel from Israel to Egypt to buy grain. Well, when they arrive in Egypt, can you imagine their astonishment and fear when they realise that the man in charge selling the grain is Joseph, the young brother whom they had sold and lied about all these years ago? They are terrified, and quite rightly so, and they fully expect Joseph to punish them. But Joseph is wise. He can see the bigger picture, and he said to them, "You meant what you did to me for evil intent, but God used it for a greater good." When God is for us, who can be against us? And there is no greater example of God bringing the greatest good from the greatest evil than that of the crucifixion. Jesus was humiliated, violated and murdered. But this horror only served as the blackest backcloth against which God was weaving His gold and silver threads of grace and love for the salvation of the world. God's eye is upon you this morning. He knows your situation and He is bringing His purposes to pass. And these are greater than you could ever imagine. Rest in Him. He is wise. And when God is for you, who can be against you? Thanks be to God. Amen.